being a dancer in India is not easy, but being a male dancer in India is like a double whammy. Try to be a male dancer, not a classical dancer, a contemporary dancer. And each time the field sort of begins to start, narrowing down. But there are some amazingly creative performers now in India, the generation who are in their 30s and their 40s, and they're really pushing it. They're pushing it because they know about the weight of the tradition, and yet they are in a space where they say, I'm here, I'm now, and watch me. So I have Deepak Kurki Shivaswamy. I've always found him amazingly inventive. I watched him, not enough, but he's won some notice and acclaim for some of his early work. And I welcome him today on Astad's birthday, his 74th birthday, to really talk about what Astad Debu meant for Deepak's generation of male dancers who are really trying to excavate vocabulary that they feel has the right intention and the right integrity. So Deepak, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you.
Tell me about Astad. What words come to your mind when I say Astad Debu?
Magical to start with.
Okay.
I think the first instance that I saw him, already I was like, okay, that's a male dancer in India, and he's doing contemporary work. And I just started my dancing. It was in a very early stage of my dancing, and I was volunteering practically. And Jay was traveling a lot; he was never here. So I went to pick him up from an airport for his performance in Bangalore, and it was very clear that he had a different energy than everyone else that I knew around me. And from there, I was already like, okay, there is something. Like I was 19 or 20 or maybe 20 in my late teens. And it was very, very clear that he had an intention of, I'm going to dance, and it's not the things that we were exposed to. It was not the Bollywood. It's not the classical. He couldn't say what he was doing, but as Vikram said, you couldn't take your eyes off him. It started there, but again, I think as I went through as a dancer and I became a choreographer, and this work became a lot more relevant for me because I always looked at his work in the time he started, So as Vikram said, when we first saw it, what is this? We were like, what's happening? And then very, very fast I realized it's not about me understanding. It's not about understanding. He's actually giving you an experience. If I just shut that brain of mine, just don't read anything, just watch. And that was a very good lesson that I learned from watching Sir. And the other thing that I think Vikram said everything in a very, very, very well spoken words. One more thing that reminds me of Sir is he always approached you as an artist. He never walked in as an institute. Like he was an institute of himself. He was like, that he was carrying something very, very precious. But he always talked to you as an artist. And in India, as you said, it feels nice when someone comes and says, listen, yeah, I understand what you're talking about. No one is saying that, what's that? What's contemporary? He's one of those guys who always give you the strength, saying that, yes, I'm doing something that has value in this present capitalistic world where you have to prove yourself by doing 100 things. And I say this because I also observed him talking to artists from different backgrounds. He meets a classical person, he talks in Tamil, he talks in Hindi, he talks in Farsi. He meets people from Salam Balak. He's really down to earth. They're talking their language. He's working with kids in school. The way he engages with them is really a human connection. I think it's a magical person who can access. Yeah.
But Deepak, I'm just wondering, because where does he find the reservoir of energy to be the many people that he was to so many people, or was he just himself? It is a question I'm asking myself. you know, because it's not just your generation of dancers. It's me, all my colleagues, several colleagues in Chennai who are classical dancers and divas. And then there was, you were talking about the Salam Balak, we've spoken about the people with special needs, and then his personal friends. So I'm just trying to wonder how this one person had time, 24 hours in one day, to have this and still be the artist he became, with actually very little and very late recognition in his own country.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to share a story which I think will tell the viewers. You know, I had started something called the Other Festival. I co-founded it in 1999, and I was co-artistic director. And of course, Astad was there. You know, of course, he was going to perform. You can't have a contemporary dance festival in 1999 without Astad Devu, because I'm talking, you know, and 20 years ago, the contemporary dance scene was very different. So we had an evening in which Ileana Sitaritsi was programmed. She called the day before saying she had hurt her back very badly. I'm talking the previous evening, the program had finished. We had announced tomorrow's Ileana Sitaritsi. We get a call from Ileana, says, I can't even sit up. I can't come on the flight. Who do I call? I just pick up the phone and call Astad. Astad, can you come? That's it. That's it. One suitcase, you know, the 3 costumes, music, he was there. He did not say, how much are you paying me? I mean, he booked his own ticket. He said, we'll deal with it. I was just so grateful. And I was so, at that point, I realized what it takes to be an artist. I mean, how much trust he would have had, and how much, I mean, still the eagerness, you know, to come and show his work, to share his work. It was 3 solos, because at that time he was creating shorter pieces that he would put together in an evening. And each of them was just so different from the other. I'm not able to exactly pinpoint what it was, but it was Astad, and it was just so different, and the energies were different. But for 60 minutes, he just sort of held us all. He just held us all, Deepak.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
How do you, but is there a technique to developing these kinds of qualities of concentration? It's one thing to work your body, okay? Practice, riyaz, whatever. And all you young dancers are busy doing all kinds of training, okay? Because now it's about fitter, faster, higher, you know, quicker. And there he was going against the grain, you know, and showing all of you, look, in the next 10, 15 years, this could possibly be one way.
Yeah, there was a talk about, there were a few talks about how you never see him rehearse, how there is no pedagogy of his is there anywhere. And I hope that he had some kind of a pedagogy left behind with all the dancers that he worked with, because his pedagogy was not institutionalized. He worked with a lot of dancers who were from very varied backgrounds, and I'm pretty sure something will come out of it. We don't know yet how it will grow. But I think when I observed him, I think also the last time when I had a chat with him, I had a pretty long chat, because we had to do a performance together, kind of a performance which didn't happen because of various reasons. He was not really affected by this pedagogy of his. He said, like, listen here, I danced everywhere. I took decisions. I went to a place. I tried out something, regardless of how great that person is. If it doesn't fit my body, I move on. So there was this pedagogy which is not really form based. It was almost like find your dance. He was always thinking of course, you see the traces of Kathak, you see the traces of Kathakali with his expression, you see the traces of jazz that he did in his early years. You see the traces of it, but you never see the form. You just see the dance. And I think that's something that we we tend to forget. It's about performance. He has this, I think he worked a lot on stage. I think is the amount of performance that he did, he shamed all of us. Even at that age of 70, 71, 70, he was always on stage. In any city I meet him, he's either on a big stage or he's doing something small in a small gallery. It might be just a costume designer, it might be Salam Balak, but he's always, I think that's something that I learned. It's like your piece is not a piece until unless it's in front of the audience and you're dealing with it. I think that's the biggest, I think most of the performers are that. You don't really know what they're doing, but like, I'm watching a performance. I'm not watching a person. I'm not watching a form. I'm not looking for a narration, which we are wired. As human beings, we're always wired to look, what am I looking? Why can't I understand?
Yes.
You know, you should just take that off, and then it's like, it's an experience. It's a body turning, man. And like, I'll give you I'll give you a small thing. I was actually, for some reason, he used to call me to just like, come and help me with the sound. He didn't need me. He had technicians to do it. You know, he had this thing of, come along, just be in the space. I'll pay you for this. Just come. I was like, okay. It's not about money. It would be like, that's a big thing, to just be and look at an artist going through their process. You know, how he deals with dancers, how he deals with music, light, costume, just the theater, how he deals with the end of the performance, where he demands audience, hey, you're doing something. This is time-based. Your phone can wait. You know, there was this thing of persisting on like, this is dance and it's time-based, and I'm here to be with you. And this was happening, and it was 2 shows. And the first day, there was 2 rehearsals and everything. There was this person who was just helping with the speakers and the cables and everything. He was not really related to the art world per se. And normally what happens is these guys just finish their work and they go out. They don't stay for the show. More often than not, they're okay. We have worked the whole day. We have seen the rehearsals. They go. But this person didn't go. He was just there in Ranga Shankara. And all he did was he was just counting all the circles. And I was like, wow, there is this, he captured a person by just one movement. And there's no talk about the form or how hard it is. It was just a layman enjoying dance. And that's his pedagogy, I think, at the end of the day.
Wow. Yeah, I think if I could ask you, Deepak, 3 qualities that you think you could learn from Astad, 3 qualities, what would they be?
I think with the dance wise, just the fact that he never stopped dancing. I think we tend to do that as dancers. Like, it's also the pandemic has put you in a place where you're questioning, what am I doing? I'm not essential anymore. And then there is this, and then Astad used to just call us, all of us. I know this, he used to just pick up the call and listen. I'm like, your brother, if you have any problem, let us know. You know, there was this warmth that happened to the whole of pandemic. And I think that's one thing. The first thing is, whatever happens, just dance, because that's why we started dancing. You know, as you grow along, you get into this big, I don't know what to say. It's a big spiral of being intellectual, being choreographer, trying to figure out other things. We forget the fact that we're all dancers. If I could actually say something, why would I dance? You know, so there's this thing of, he always, whatever he did, he always maintained, I'm a dancer, I'm a performer, I'm performing. That's one. Second thing, as I said, he always met people as a human. He met people at a human level. And I'm pretty sure once the rehearsal starts, the artist comes in and he demands things, which is read very aggressive in this country. But if you're not that, you will not get it in this country. People don't understand a light coming in an angle makes a huge difference. And he has to be, he needs to say like, no, I want it exactly like that. I want that rope in that angle. And that translated as an aggressive, like an anger, but it's not. The second it's done, he's like the sweetest person. He's just human. And I think the third thing was just be, you know, he, with all his work, if you meet, like last time I met him in Chennai, in Clubhouse, I still remember every second of it. because he was just there. And it was the same with anyone. You just go where he goes and meets with Salam Balak people for 15 minutes. They remember that 15 minutes because he gave all his presence to them. So yeah, those three things, and it's you don't learn this in a school. You learn this from a person's life, you know. And he was I remember every meeting I had with him. Let it be a taxi ride to airport, or meeting him in Chennai or Bombay in Prithvi, or Delhi in some small restaurant, or even a phone call, because he was just there. So yeah. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah. So I think he really is, for your generation of male dancers, somebody that really walked his talk in India, created a path for all of you, and gave you, I think, a possibility to believe, like believe in yourself. You know, I don't know if it's going to be easier for all of you. The world is changing so fast, and optics and what people are demanding of dance. But I think Astad really has, Ekla Chalo Re was one of his favorite tagore pieces, right? Walk alone, walk straight, and he added walk tall. So on his 74th birthday, thank you so much, Deepak, for joining and sharing your thoughts. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, bye.
Thank you.